Hello, 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 and welcome back to French Dip Empire. I am the Empress, and we are back with part 5 of our series on the scandals of the Norwegian royal family, back after an extended, unintentional hiatus due to technical difficulties, circumstances beyond our control. Anyway, moving on to the subjects of our discussion today, we're going to have a little update on Marius Borg Hoiby, the son of Crown Princess Mette-Marit, and his ongoing criminal troubles. So, right on screen, if you are not just listening but are able to watch the video, we have the family tree of the Norwegian Royal Family. And if you are here, I presume you are probably familiar with them already. But if not, we'll just go over this again. At the top of the family tree here, we have King Harald V, elderly and infirm. He is still, unless something has happened in the past 5 or so minutes, he is still the King of Norway. This is his wife, Queen Sonja, the former Sonja Haraldsson. She was a commoner before marrying the king. They have 2 children. The elder of the 2 is their only daughter, Princess Martha Louisa, and she had her first husband, and they had 3 children together, and we covered her first husband, Ari Ben, the writer, and they're a little bit of a discussion of their 3 children. They are fairly young, but they're out and about and becoming celebrities of their own. And we'll talk a little bit about the elder 2 daughters have been making headlines just in the past week or so in Norway. Nothing major, and certainly nothing as negative as what their step cousin Marius over here has been getting into in the past, several months. It's been since the summer that he's been making very, very negative headlines. So the second child of King Harald and Queen Sonja is, of course, Crown Prince Haakon here, and he is married to Mette-Marit, who brought into their marriage her son from a previous relationship, not marriage, Marius Borg Hoiby. And I can't believe I didn't mention this before, but his name in translation, when I'm translating the articles that are in Norwegian using Google's translate function, they are sometimes translating his surname, and Hoiby meaning high, and Borg meaning town. They keep translating his name as Marius High Town, which is a little bit of unintentional levity if you have been following some of the allegations and some of the admissions that Marius himself has made about his inappropriate and criminal activity. So Mette-Marit had Marius before she married Haakon, and together they have Princess Ingrid Alexandra and Prince Sverre Magnus. Princess Ingrid is Haakon's heir after they changed the succession rules in the Norwegian house. Previous to that, the women were excluded, which is why Haakon is the heir over his elder sister. But in this case, it's the elder sister who is at least in line to inherit the throne, but the throne looks a little shaky at the moment, possibly with all of these scandals and crimes. It's not just scandals and rumors, it's actual criminal allegations which have been admitted to. So, where we left off with Marius Borg Hoiby, before I go into what the latest revelations and the past, bringing you up to date on what has happened, and then moving forward for what has happened since the last time I spoke about this. Before we continue, I do want to give a warning that if you are sensitive to certain subjects, we are going to be discussing some subjects which could be upsetting to certain people. I would definitely advise if you have children around, they should probably not be listening to this, especially if they are quite young. And I will have to be careful with my language, both for YouTube's standards and practices and also for the sake of, the listener. Anyone out there who might be upset by certain language, I'm going to try to tone it down. So this is not me talking down to anyone, any of you out there. I'm not trying to be silly or childish. I'm just trying to keep this, as PG as possible, considering that these are not PG subjects. So moving forward, and the language that is used in the articles, which I cannot say or will not say out loud, will be visible on the screen. If that is an issue, just a warning, because there will be, for example, like the R word in big letters on the screen at times. So just if that's something that could bother you, then you might want to be careful with this stream, or maybe go read about it on your own. I don't know. So let's take a look at these articles. Where we last left off, Marius Borg Hoiby is being investigated for allegations that include what you can see on the screen, the very, very bad R crime, which I will not be actually saying. Now, where we left off, as I said, there were 2 of these crimes which he was accused of, and in the meantime, this is dated 21 November 2024. Marius is now allegedly, possibly, involved in a 3rd R crime. So let's read this. Investigating a 3rd R crime, Oslo Police District has charged Marius with 2 counts of R crime. Now a 3rd case is under investigation in another police district. And this is Marius here on the right with his mother, Crown Princess Mette-Marit, on the left. Continuing the article. Crown Princess Mette-Marit's son, Marius Borg Hoiby, 27, was arrested on Monday this week, of course, not this week as I'm speaking, and charged with R crime. The alleged R crime for which he was arrested is said to have occurred on Palm Sunday in an apartment in Oslo and includes what is called R crime without conjugal relations. We're going to put it that way. You can read what that word is on the screen if you are actually watching this video, not just listening. Continuing, the victim will be, or is, a woman in her 20s with whom Marius has no relationship. I think that means he wasn't actually dating her, but perhaps they have some kind of a relationship. Obviously, he knew this person, but not that they were dating. I think that's what that means. Continuing, the charge has been extended to also apply to a violation of the Criminal Code, Section 291, letter B, which concerns spicy interactions, shall we say, with someone who is unconscious or for other reasons unable to resist the act, the police wrote in a press release on Tuesday. And there's another picture of Marius. And of course, yes, he has denied these allegations. Shock notice, the woman in her 20s is said to have been unaware of the charge until the police contacted her, after allegedly finding electronic traces. And I think that means not just unaware of the charge. Obviously, she would not be aware of a criminal charge by the police unless it was made public or they made her aware of that, but that she was unaware of the crime, the alleged crime having occurred. She didn't know that he possibly R-crimed her until the police said, hey, we found 1 or more videos that seem to indicate that this happened. So back to the article, there is a quote. She is having a hard time and it is heavy. It was not she who reported the relationship. It was the police who opened the case. Her legal aid lawyer, Hege Solomon, told NRK. And there again is Marius. Coordinated action against Marius. The police attacked Marius Borg Hoiby in a coordinated operation. Well, they didn't literally attack him, physically. Hoiby was stopped shortly after he had driven from Skaugum, and Skaugum is the estate where the Crown Prince and Princess live in one building, and Marius has been living in a smaller outbuilding on the estate. But as we have learned through previous news articles, he is well known for giving parties at the Crown Prince and Princess's house at Skaugum, which he and his friends term Skaugum fests, Skaugum parties. And actually, one of the videos that accompanies this article right here has a video of one of his friends videoing themselves riding a Segway vehicle around the, as it says in the caption, Crown Prince Haakon and Crown Princess Mette-Marit's private apartment at Skaugum. And here, I think it's okay if I play this. I don't think I will get in trouble for a copyright violation or anything. So let's see. And if I can make this full screen, I will. 1 second. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, is it playing? here. Oh, it paused. Oh, and that's another video. Well, here I am already having more technical difficulties. Okay, as per the shaman, I am going to blame this on Mercury retrograde. Certainly not my incompetence. No, not at all. Okay, let's try this again. Here we go. Here's the video, and I will again try to make it full screen. There. So here the person, there's a ping pong table, some stuff strewn all over the floor, fairly wide planks. Here's the hallway. There's a dining kind of area, the kitchen, gas stove, some flowers, long benches. Oh, those look like publicity shots of Mette-Marit. And the books, and oh, there's the ping pong table again. So I guess we went around in a circle. And it looks, I mean, nice, but fairly modest, I would say, as far as royal residences go. All right, well, let's stop that. That's something else. Okay, so that's at least part of the inside of the Skaugum residence of the Crown Prince and Princess. So back to the article. Okay, so the police searched Marius's house in Skaugum and made several seizures. The police stated afterwards that they were very satisfied with the result. And here they have a link to another article, which this is, I think if it's not the same article, it's the same information that we covered in, I believe it was the last stream, that he had dyed his hair brown, his blonde hair brown. You can see it's blonde up in the video still here, up here. But then down here, you kind of can't see it with the baseball cap, but he had dyed his hair brown and grown a mustache, and that's brown as well. Unless, of course, it's a fake mustache, which would be much funnier, but I'm going to give him the credit that he actually grew it himself. And why was he disguising himself if he was going to go allegedly to rehab? Well, that's a question for him to answer. Continuing the article, furthermore, Marius' ex-girlfriend, who he has admitted inappropriate aggression, we're using in place of this word that begins with V, against, he has admitted to being inappropriately aggressive against this specific ex-girlfriend and has a restraining order against, or she has a restraining order against him. She was a passenger in the car he was driving, meaning when the police arrested him, that woman was a passenger in the car, which, again, unusual because there's a restraining order. It's a little confusing why she would be willing to allow him to break the restraining order, but that hasn't been explained. According to the girl's legal aid lawyer, Mette Ivana Larsen, she was in the car because she was supposed to borrow it while Marius was on a planned stay abroad. And in theory, that planned stay abroad would have been his stint in rehab, which we will discuss. Supposedly he is going off to rehab, and we have an article about that coming up. Excuse me. And then this is the cover of the magazine, the website that we're reading right now, and that's Mette-Marit, and there is Marius. Okay, the Crown Prince's family were not notified in advance this time, as they were the first time Marius was arrested. At that time, it resulted in Mette-Marit tipping off her son that the police were on their way. Before, according to information to VG, that's Verdensgang, a different media outlet, she should have cleaned the house, meaning that, and Mette-Marit has been accused of having swept up for her son, gone to his house, and disposed of, well, we don't really know, but considering that he had issues with material being recorded on his phone, his phones, his devices, but also he's been accused and has admitted to using illegal substances, particularly of the white powder variety that we like to refer to here, and other people, of course, do too, as marching powder. But that is our euphemism so that YouTube will not be angry at us for talking about forbidden subjects. So He has admitted to using that, having a problem with that, having had a problem in the past, and having gone to rehab for that problem. But he continues to have a problem with that substance, as well as alcohol, which of course combined creates a third substance, which is very, very toxic and dangerous to one's body. And he has suffered bouts of inappropriate aggression. He has admitted this, and he has admitted to an incident of inappropriate aggression with this ex-girlfriend who got the restraining order against him due to the precipitating event in August, which outed Marius as having all of these problems, which was an argument with the girlfriend, which resulted in a bladed instrument of the chef variety, or that type, stuck into a wall of her bedroom, a chandelier smashed on the floor, and other damage, including injuries to that woman, that were described as, I believe, a concussion. I heard some pretty bad descriptions of what injury she received, and it seemed as though it was an extended and very, very, not like a one-off incident, or not incident. It was one incident, but not a one contact between Marius and this girl, a woman, but an extended, sustained type of a thing. I apologize for stumbling over my words, but I am trying to be very careful for YouTube purposes. I don't want to hit any third rails with language and subjects of discussion. So, continuing the article. We were not notified in advance, Hawken confirmed this week to NRK during his visit to Jamaica. And of course, that was about 2 weeks ago at this point. Made new shocking discoveries on Tuesday, and not this past Tuesday. The police announced that they want to remand Marius, but before the case came up in the district court on Wednesday at 1400, the police expanded the charges to 2 R crimes, among other things based on findings they had made during the night and morning hours. According to TV2, the police found videos of an alleged R crime on Hoiby's own phone. We have asked for imprisonment for 2 weeks. The reason why we have asked for it is that we have uncovered another R crime. It is found in the investigative material. The case concerns spicy interaction without conjugal relations with a woman who is unable to resist the act, police attorney Andreas Kruszewski told the press. And below we have an image of the Skaugum estate, and you can see circled here the white building is the main building where the Crown Prince and Princess live, and then this other white circle on the right-hand side of the photograph is, it's a little hard to see, it's a red building with a big brown roof. That's where Marius lives, or has been living. Supposedly he has been banned from the main estate, but continues to live in that home. Okay, so continuing the article. It was Dagbladet, that's another news outlet, that first reported that the R crime must have happened inside Skaugum in Marius's house. The R crime is said to have occurred on 26 September, less than 2 weeks after he was arrested during the much publicized cabin trip to Skykampen. I'm going to go for that. I apologize to Norwegian speakers. I am not fluent and my accent is poor. I am working on it, but my reading comprehension in Norwegian is definitely improving as I've been covering the Norwegian Royal Family, so that's been nice. Okay, the cabin trip was, there was, what the cabin trip they're talking about, if I remember correctly, was when the police went and arrested Marius again for violating the, I think it was for violating a restraining order, regarding his alleged victim or admitted victim. He has not yet been, it's confusing. If he were merely accused of crimes, I could say alleged. If he had been convicted, he, well, would be convicted, but he's in this middle ground where he's been accused of crimes, some of which he has admitted to, confessed, but not yet been convicted, and others he has denied and has not yet been prosecuted, or there has been no prosecution, so he's neither convicted nor acquitted or anything. It's still in the air. So, okay, continuing. New R crime is being invested in Tonsberg. Now, Seher can reveal, I apologize, I'm trying with the pronunciations, that Marius is being investigated for a third R crime. The reason why it has so far not been included in the ongoing investigation of Marius in Oslo is that the R crime must have taken place in Tonsberg. The case, therefore, formally belongs to the Southeast Police District. But when Seher contacts the Tonsberg Police District on Thursday, we are told that they do not want to comment on it. Okay, the matter does not lie with us. All inquiries directed at Hoiby are now with the Oslo police, say the police in Tonsberg. Well, that's confusing. It is not known at the time of writing whether Marius has the status of being charged in the Tonsberg case or whether he is currently only to be regarded as a suspect. On Wednesday, Seher was told that Marius Borg Hoiby's ex-girlfriend Juliana Snekkestad, 29, was being questioned in this third R crime case the police are investigating. I can confirm that today she was questioned as a witness in a case against Marius Borg Hoiby. Beyond that, I have no comment, Snekkestad's assistant's lawyer Petter Gordem told Seher. Okay, so, and then at the bottom here, we have a little summary of the charge against Marius. So if you want to keep score, here we go. There are now 6 victims in the criminal case against Marius Borg Hoiby. His ex-girlfriend, a woman in her 20s, Hoiby was initially charged with bodily harm and damage in her apartment at Frogner in Oslo on the night of Sunday, 4 August. The charge was later expanded, first to one more case of bodily harm, and now abuse in close relationships, so DV. Hoiby is also charged with breaching a visiting and contact ban, that's breaking the restraining order. In a statement on 14 August, Hoiby admitted to having committed inappropriate aggression and damage while under the influence of adult substances and an illegal substance, that being adult beverage and marching powder. And this ex-girlfriend, even though she is not named, I don't know why, in these articles, has been identified before as Rebecca, and I'll just leave her last name off. It's very easy to find out who this woman was, and I don't know why they are specifically protecting her. I mean, she is a victim, and she didn't do anything wrong other than making a really bad decision to date Marius. So that's the victim 1, alleged victim 1, although it's admitted, so victim 1. And then victim 2, Juliana Snekkestad, 29. Hoiby is charged with abuse in close relationships, DV, against his ex-girlfriend. He denies criminal guilt. They were a couple for almost 5 years. The relationship ended in February 2022. So that was the girlfriend, 2 girlfriends before Rebecca, and then alleged victim number 3, Nora Haukland, 27. He is also charged with abuse in close relationships against his ex-girlfriend. They were together for a period from 2022 to 2023. He denies criminal guilt. So Nora was the girlfriend before Rebecca, and Juliana was the girlfriend before Nora. So 1, 2, 3. We have a pattern of 3 in a row saying he has a problem. Now, alleged victim number 4, a man in his 20s who has been not identified as far as I know. Hoiby is accused of having threatened to unalive this man in a message on Instagram. And Marius has pleaded guilty to that. So not an alleged victim, an admitted victim. And then the next, so this is, what are we up to? Number 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Victim 5. A fourth woman. Hoiby is charged with having had conjugal relations with her while she was, or some kind of spicy interaction with her while she was unconscious or otherwise unable to resist the act. He denies criminal guilt. And then finally, number 7, a fifth woman, as Dagbladet has revealed, the police believe that Hoiby exposed her to our crime at Skaugum on 26 September this year. Hoiby denies criminal guilt. Okay, and reiterating, denies criminal liability. Borg Hoiby's defender, Oyvind Bratlien, stated that Marius denied criminal guilt for the R crimes. Crown Princess Mette-Marit's son was remanded in custody for up to a week with a ban on letters and visits. Both charges are catastrophic misjudgments on the part of the prosecutor, Bratlien told NRK. Say a whore has read the entire judgment. The press has been forbidden by the judge to refer to the contents of this and the assessments made in connection with the imprisonment. So they can't talk about it. Okay, and there's Marius again. Say a whore has today been in contact with the Oslo Police District, which cannot confirm the information in this case. What we can say is that the Oslo Police District is investigating the entire case complex in the Hoiby case. Otherwise, the police cannot confirm this information. Okay. And all right, they asked for a comment from his attorney, who did not reply. So if you need a little timeline, here we go. 4th August, that's when the police first went to investigate the incident at Frogner. 6th August, that is when it was admitted that Marius was charged with crime in relation to that incident, and Mette-Marit decided not to go to the Olympics in Paris. The 7th of August, they reiterated the charges, and the Crown Prince said it was a serious matter. 13 August, the police admit that Marius was arrested, and that they admitted that Mette-Marit had contacted Rebecca, the victim of the August incident. Then the next day, 14 August, Marius released a statement where he admitted to having some problems. The 16th of August, that's when Juliana was questioned by the police. And then the 20th of August, that's when Nora also was publicly admitted to be a victim, or alleged to be a victim. 23 August, they added more charges. 26th August, Hawken comments on the case. That's when it was confirmed that Marius has a diplomatic passport, and that may not sound like that big of a deal, but the other allegations in this case, which are not at the moment the criminal allegations that have been heavily publicized, are his the alleged and admitted acts against the women. But there are additional issues that have come up, and I will just go back to this image from a previous stream, a previous article that we covered on a previous stream. And yes, the language here is Norwegian, but you can probably figure out that this says Marius Borg Hoiby's network, and some of the language here is probably understandable, even if you do not speak or read Norwegian. But this connects Marius to things such as trafficking of substance and money laundering activities, and things that involve words like mafia and gang. So that's been interesting. And if you want the skinny, or really the fat, because it's a lot of information on that, I would recommend going back. As I said, this is part 5, and there are 4 earlier parts that discuss Marius's alleged netwerk, his friends, and their alleged and admitted, convicted in some cases for activities. And we're going to talk about that a little bit in just a moment, but not too much. But anyway, so back to the timeline. And yes, they also claimed that, and that was back when, on the 14th, when Marius released his statement of admission. He also claimed that he had mental difficulties, mental problems that had troubled him his whole life. And Crown Prince Haakon reiterated that. Although I don't think that those issues are going to get him out of trouble, it does not seem to have granted him enough sympathy in the public mind that excuses this behavior, and certainly does not excuse the let's say tolerance, I guess, of his continued behavior by the royal family, particularly his parents. Okay, so on the 27th of August, the next day, he's questioned by police. The 28th, he goes to Italy. And there was an article about that, how Marius had been invited to attend a socialite wedding in Italy. But then after he got charged with these crimes and it was all publicized, it was reported that guests at the wedding, who I guess were a lot of Norwegian socialites, said that they would not attend the wedding if Marius was there, and he was uninvited from the wedding. And so he traveled to Italy, but he did not attend the wedding because he was asked. Apparently he was asked not to, unless he bowed out. But either way, he did not attend because people did not want to be associated with the man who was accused of R crime and DV. I'm sure they probably had no problem with the illegal substances. But moving on. So then the 3rd of September, that's when the restraining order from Rebecca to Marius, I guess, was implemented, and he was scrubbed from the website of the Norwegian Royal Family. Then a week later, on the 10th, the police admit that they spoke with Marius in 2023, and I believe we covered that on part 1, that the police had sat down Marius and said, we know that you're involved with criminal types, we know that you're involved with illegal substance, and they suggested that it wasn't merely the use of illegal substance, but also the moving around, the exchanging, let's say, of substance for what you would exchange for substance, like, say, money, and that he should not be involved in these activities. So they admitted that that had happened. The next day, on the 11th, this website published an audio recording, and I have actually a translation of these recordings that they published, and I did want to do a video. I can't cover it at the moment, but I was considering, if I had time and no technical difficulties, playing the audio and reading the transcript, or not playing the audio, I guess, but reading the transcripts of the audio. You could listen to them, though, because I could play them. I don't think there would be a copyright issue, but the transcripts are kind of interesting, but maybe we will do that in the future. We shall see. But continuing with the timeline. So 2 days later, on the 13th, Marius was arrested. Oh, okay. I guess this was a different cabin trip. This was at Gausdal, and he was arrested there for violating the restraining order. Allegedly, he says he did not. The next day, he got more charges for breaking the restraining order, and then was also charged with crimes against Juliana and Nora, and against the 4th person, and that was the unaliving threat against the man. So now, on the 21st, so it's... what is that? 11 days later, Nora speaks to the police again. Fast forward, 8th October, the attorney, I think that's for one of the women, I can't remember, I think it was Juliana's attorney, says that Marius is being investigated for more charges for restraining order violation. 16th October, more police interviews, and Marius's attorney says that Marius is now accusing Juliana of inappropriate aggression of the DV kind in their relationship, which is possible, but doesn't change the whatever he did. Okay. Then the 28th of October, Juliana's, I guess that's her. It says public prosecutor. Do you get your own prosecutor assigned to one in Norway? I didn't know that. But anyway, the public prosecutor wants Mette-Marit questioned because she potentially, allegedly interfered with the investigation by possibly, allegedly getting rid of evidence. 3 days later, on the 31st, on Halloween, Marius's defense attorney says that a doctor has recommended that Marius have his driving license taken away, and that happened. Although a previous article, and we covered this earlier, said that that was at the request of Mette-Marit. Then, again, fast forward, 18th November, Marius is arrested again, and this is to give him another R-crime charge, and also related to the initial incident in August that kicked this whole chain of events off. And then 2 days later, the 20th of November, that's when the police finally say, we want to we want to put Marius into custody. At one point it was said that they were going to hold him for 2 weeks, but then it turned out to be just 1 week, and that now he's going to catch a third R-crime charge, allegedly. And so, and that he would be held for a week with no letters and no visits. So essentially, I guess, solitary. I don't know if he would be allowed to have phone calls, such as being able to speak to his attorney, but there we go. So that's where it stood as of the end of November, right after, I guess, the last stream that I did. So they want to charge Marius with a third R crime, and I guess they actually have now. And again, pardon the large type with spicy language. Now, let's take a look at this additional charge. This article is from the 26th of November. Marius Borg Hoiby had spicy interaction several times. The police believe Marius R-crimed a woman in Skaugum in September. The offended woman has explained that the two have had spicy interactions several times in the past, and that sounds like she's saying it was consensual. But of course, that doesn't mean that there couldn't have been something non-consensual that occurred, especially if it was without her knowledge or her being conscious, or however. It's still kind of vague. The language of the crime is kind of covers a lot of bases, but we haven't heard specifically what he did or allegedly did. So, okay, in short, Marius Borg Hoiby is charged with 2 counts of R-crime after the police discovered videos on his phone. The Oslo District Court decided to imprison him for a week. The police asked for 2 weeks. Dagbladet can now reveal that the court was in doubt as to whether there were reasonable grounds for suspecting one of the charges because the offended woman had not been questioned about the video findings. Okay, so they're getting Marius's phone, looking at the videos on it, and deciding that, okay, this video looks like he's committing a crime against this woman, but they didn't discuss it with her. I suppose there could be situations where you could have evidence, or you could have a video. Maybe it looks like something bad is happening. Maybe it actually isn't bad. We wouldn't know unless we knew what the video looked like. Not that I want to look at it, not that it should be made public, but you catch what I'm saying. Things might look bad, and if he's doing other bad things, It doesn't necessarily mean everything he does is bad or criminal, but it might be, and hence the investigation. So now they're doubting the R crime charge. The third one. Okay, on Tuesday afternoon, the Oslo District Court decided to lift the ban on minutes in the imprisonment order. Not exactly sure what that means. I wonder if that means they were no longer keeping him in solitary. There, it also emerges that the woman has explained that the two have had spicy interactions several times in the past. Okay. The police expanded the charge against Hoiby to include R crime. After videos were found on his phone, Dagbladet has been told, based on a lot of this is redundant. The negotiations around this took place behind closed doors in room 316 in the Oslo courthouse, and the ruling has been handed down with a ban on minutes. Oh, okay. It's literally like taking the minutes of a meeting. They're not allowing what is good. They're closed door behind closed doors. It's a closed door negotiation, and the court has ruled that this is all supposed to be private. And I know that, and I think it might be the next article we're going to look at, Marius's attorney does not appreciate this. And I can guarantee you that the media does not appreciate this because they want to be able to report on everything. So, continuing. Shortly after the prison meeting, however, police prosecutor Andreas Kruszewski stated that the police had charged Hoiby with yet another R crime. Dagbladet has previously revealed that the R crime must have happened in Skaugum, the Crown Princely estate, on 26 September this year, 2024. Dagbladet is informed that the court was in doubt as to whether there were reasonable grounds for suspicion about this part of the charge, because the offended woman, or I guess allegedly offended woman, had not been interviewed by the police about the video findings. Okay, spicy activity several times. On Tuesday afternoon, after Dagbladet first mentioned the case, the Oslo District Court decided to lift the minutes ban. It also appears in the imprisonment order that the judge had doubts about the episode at Skaugum. So even the judge was saying, I don't know, maybe it's not a crime. Well, they should definitely speak to the woman. It would be nice to give her an opportunity to weigh in on what may or may not have happened to her. I think that would help. The ruling also states that the offended woman has explained that she and Hoiby have had spicy interactions several times in the past. However, the court assumes that the offended woman was asleep when the act in question took place. Dagbladet has repeatedly tried to get a comment from the woman's assistance lawyer, Gunhild Vehusea, maybe, without getting a reply. And here again is an image of Marius's house on the Skaugum estate, this little red building right here. Denies criminal guilt. In order for someone to be detained, there must be reasonable grounds for suspicion. The fact that the woman had not been questioned about this must also have been part of the reason why Hoiby was remanded in custody, precisely because of the risk of tampering with evidence, Dagbladet is told. Probably also so he doesn't try to contact the woman, since he's been accused of breaking restraining orders, it seems like more than once. Dagbladet has submitted the information to Hoiby's defender, Øyvind Brattelian. He does not wish to comment on this. But he will comment in a upcoming article here. The 27-year-old denies criminal guilt for the accusations of R crime, and Brattelian has previously referred to the charges as catastrophic misjudgments by the police. The woman's lawyer has not responded to Dagbladet's inquiry about this case. Police prosecutor Andreas Kruszewski states that the police have no comment on the case. Must have tried to delete evidence. When Hoiby was arrested for the first time at Jonsloka School on 4 August, and it was described that the school was across the street from where he lives, and that this is the school that he attended from early childhood. So kind of a strange scene that he walked across the street to his elementary school to get arrested. But that when that happened, Marius handed over a broken mobile phone without a SIM card. Dagbladet knows that this will be an older iPhone model. When he was arrested again at Skykampen in September after the police believed he had breached the restraining order. Oh, maybe that is the same, that they used a different name or a different, maybe it's the town name versus the building name. I guess that was just one arrest at the camp or lodge, hunting lodge. After the police believed he had breached the restraining order, another mobile phone was seized. According to information that both VG and Aftenposten had published, the police believe that the 27-year-old must have tried to delete digital evidence on at least 2 occasions. The police believe Hoiby must have used a function that remotely deletes content automatically on digital storage devices. It is not known what kind of content the police believe Hoiby has deleted or attempted to delete. Hoiby can have many good reasons for deleting information on a phone, which are not about deleting evidence. Beyond that, I don't want to say anything more concrete, says Bratlin. Well, that's obviously true. There are plenty of things that would not necessarily be evidence or crimes that one wouldn't want the police or anyone else getting a hold of. Sure. Must use the time well. In a press release, police attorney Andreas Kruszewski stated that the police take note of the court's opinion that the risk of tampering with evidence should be resolved in a shorter time than requested. We refer to the court's assessments and will make good use of the time, he said. The fact that the police came up with a new R-crime charge shortly before the question of custody was to be decided has caused defense attorney Øyvind Bratlin to react. The police were afraid of not being successful in imprisonment. They were under pressure and felt compelled to produce something more. The latest case bears the mark of extreme haste and a highly objectionable investigation, he told Dagbladet on Thursday. The police did not want to comment on the statement. The 27-year-old was arrested last Monday evening, less than a day before. According to Dagbladet's information, he was due to get on the plane to London to start rehabilitation for the illegal substance problems he has previously explained he has struggled with for a long time. And that is his attorney, Øyvind Bratlin. Arrived at court in caps, Hoiby spent 2 nights at the Central Detention Center on Greenland in Oslo. And just to be clear, that's not Greenland, the large giant island. It's an area in the city of Oslo, Greenland, I guess, in Greenland, in Oslo, before he was remanded in custody. He petitioned to be released when the imprisonment was dealt with by the court. Hoiby arrived in the courtroom shortly after the press left the courtroom. He had dark hair and was wearing a light sweater, dark cap, and glasses. They let you wear a hat in a courtroom? I mean, as long as it's not a, say, religious attire. I am surprised. In addition to being charged with having had spicy interaction with 2 women while they were unconscious or otherwise unable to resist the act, the charge has been expanded to include abuse in close relationships against the it says boyfriend, it's a mistranslation, it means ex-girlfriend, who was offended in the original Frogner case. That would be Rebecca. Furthermore, he is charged with new breaches of the contact and visiting ban he has imposed on her. It's the other way around. She has imposed on him, as well as for having driven a car without a driving license. So taking his driver's license away did not accomplish anything other than getting him another criminal charge. It didn't stop him from driving, and why Mette-Marit, his mother, would have thought that getting a doctor to recommend that he had his driver's license taken away, I'm not really sure what that accomplished other than now Marius has another criminal charge against him. Anyway, Marius denies criminal guilt for this. All right. So that is where the Marius case stood as of December. Oh, I'm sorry. This is still 26 November. Now, moving on to our next article. More unpleasant headlines. And this is from December 3rd. Now, we're moving forward in time. This is an article from yesterday as I am recording this. The police's theory about Marius Borg Hoiby. Our crime woman after family dinner. Now, this is probably the most information that we've had about any of the alleged incidents other than the one that happened at the beginning of August at Frogner, which was the initial incident that got attention in the press and started off this sort of avalanche of allegations against Marius. So, continuing the article, according to the police, Mette-Marit's eldest son is alleged to have crimed a young woman just hours after he had a pleasant family dinner with his then-girlfriend and her family. I think they mean his family because they're going to show you photographs from a ski trip that Marius went on with his then-girlfriend. Presumably... Oh, well, wait. Okay, it was... Yeah, I think this would be Rebecca, the woman from the August incident, and with him at that time on the ski trip with his parents. You'll be able to see the photographs as we scroll down. So, continuing with the article, Marius Borg Hoiby, 27, was released last week, and this is a current article. So, he was released last week as I record this on the 4th of December, 2024, after spending 1 week in custody, charged with 2 cases of what the police describe as crime without conjugal relations. And if you aren't clear on what that means, I am using a euphemism. You can see the words right here on the screen if you are able to watch and not just listen. Okay, he is also being investigated for a third spicy offense, if you will. In all cases, there must be, well, I think that's a poor translation. I guess there was spicy activity with young women who have been unconscious or otherwise unable to resist the actions. And in the last article, it specified that there was an accusation that one of the women was asleep. So that's what that would mean, unconscious or otherwise unable to resist the actions. At least in one case, they're saying she was asleep. Crown Princess Mette-Marit's eldest son denies criminal guilt in all crime charges. And this is a photograph of a snowy street in Oslo. Nice family dinner. Se Ahor can now bring more details about the alleged crime, which is said to have happened at Easter this year. So that would have well predated the August Frogner incident that Marius was first charged with. On Palm Saturday, 23 March, Marius and his then-girlfriend and that should be the Frogner incident girl, Rebecca, had a nice dinner with her family. I'm not sure if it actually is her family or his family, because these terms get mistranslated all the time by the Google automatic translate function, There was eating and drinking, and the atmosphere must have been good, as befits the start of an Easter celebration. But the continuation was anything but a quiet Easter week for Marius and those close to him. Wanted to party. After the dinner visit was over, Marius and his girlfriend took a taxi home to Skaugum, where they lived together at the time. But at some point, Marius decided he didn't want to go home. he wanted to party instead, and his girlfriend therefore let him drop off in the city center. So she continued home, and as it says, she herself took the taxi home to the residence Marius has on the Crown Prince couple's property, and that was the red house that we saw earlier. Excuse me. And he went off to party, which is not exactly the best sign if your boyfriend is ditching you to go party after you have dinner with the fam, but especially when we take into account Marius's confirmed extracurricular activities and his alleged extracurricular crimes. So he took off, and here's the photograph. I like you'll see there's another photograph from obviously this same time period, the same photographer, and they're creep shotting the royal family. I wonder if Mette-Marit here has caught the photographer creep shotting them, because if you notice it says photo private, it's not credited to an actual photo agency. So I guess it's not an actual paparazzo who took this photo. And here you see Crown Prince Haakon, and this would be Marius, and that's Crown Princess Mette-Marit, and then this would be the as yet unidentified girlfriend, or the anonymized girlfriend, I guess I should say. She's, I suppose, pretty easy to identify because it was Rebecca. But she did nothing wrong, so no reason for her to be anonymized. She didn't do anything wrong other than pick a bad boyfriend, unfortunately. Okay, so yes, the Marius and his then girlfriend celebrated Easter with Crown Princess Mette-Marit and Crown Prince Haakon in Uvdal shortly after he allegedly committed our crime. And this is an awful phrase, our crime Palm Sunday, quote unquote. It wasn't until the next morning that Marius returned home to Skaugum. In the meantime, the 27-year-old is said to have been at home with a woman in her 20s whom he should not have known before. So, translation, Marius was with a woman in her 20s that was a new acquaintance, I suppose. Here he allegedly, assaulted her in her own home in Oslo. According to TV2, the R crime must have happened at 8:10 in the morning on Palm Sunday. The reason why the time is so precise is that the police are said to have found several videos of the incident on Borg Hoiby's mobile phone. Several videos of the incident. Okay. I assume if they have, I wonder if they have the time, if they have the geolocation as well, and they would be able to particularly nail down where the video was taken, even if it was not obviously evident in the videos themselves. And here we have a photo. It looks like a selfie. It says photo credit Instagram, so I guess this is a uploaded selfie of Crown Prince Haakon and Crown Princess Mette-Marit on the slopes on their Easter trip, looking happy. The police had then been investigating the Crown Princess's eldest son for a possible R crime since 6 November. On Monday evening, 18 November, the police then went into action and arrested Marius Borg Hoiby for this relationship. Before the prison meeting 2 days later, the police found what they believed to be evidence of a new R crime incident. After reviewing investigative material, Borg Hoiby also denies criminal guilt here. And if I'm reading these articles correctly, I assume that is the woman who then said that she had had a relationship with him and had been with him in an intimate way before, in the reading of this being consensually. They'd hooked up several times before, but were these videos evidence that he had done something inappropriate and non-consensual? Well, we don't know. Didn't know. The young woman was summoned for police questioning only 8 months after the assault at Easter is said to have occurred. And then there's a photograph here of the Crown Princely couple's cottage in Uvdal, where they were vacationing that Easter vacation. She did not know that she had been subjected to abuse when she came to be questioned by the police, and only became aware of this during the questioning, says the aggrieved woman's legal counsel. And then here's Marius, who was in Italy at a bar when he had been kicked out of the off the attendee list for that wedding of the socialites that I mentioned earlier. Extremely difficult. It was the police who identified the woman and contacted her. The public prosecutor announced to the press that her client is in an extremely difficult situation. She asks for the right to privacy and asks that the press respect her wish not to be identified. Okay, and then another photograph of Marius on the left and his little girlfriend here, ex-girlfriend on the right, presumably Rebecca, not the woman that they are claiming he R-crimed. This is the girlfriend that he was dating at the time that he allegedly R-crimed this now third alleged victim of his alleged R-crimings. Okay, Marius lawyer Oyvind Bratlian believes the videos on his client's mobile do not show anything punishable. So in theory, they're claiming these are videos of consensual activity. And who knows? Not me. The videos show, when viewed in context, that nothing criminal has happened. Other evidence in the case also shows this. No charges should therefore have been brought, Bratlian told TV2. After the prison meeting where Borg Hoiby was detained for 1 week, the lawyer characterized the charge in the alleged Easter R-crime as a catastrophic misjudgment. And then here's a larger photo of the photo we saw earlier. Marius in disguise with his blonde hair dyed brown and sporting a new brown mustache, which I will call a creeper stash because there are two other ways that I could describe his stash. Both terms start with the letter P and are not complimentary. So I will just say that is a creeper stash, and you can figure it out on your own what I'm referring to. New ban on visitors. Bratlian maintained the criticism after it was decided that his client should be released. The evidence against Hoiby is significantly weakened. The risk of tampering with evidence is non-existent because he was imprisoned. The imprisonment was wrong, and catastrophic misjudgments were the basis, the defense lawyer told VG. Last week, it also became known from the police that Borg Hoiby has a restraining order against two women. Well, they have it against him. This is a mistranslation, which comes in addition to the restraining order against the woman who was offended in the violence case at Frogner on 4 August, that being Rebecca. It gets confusing when they have all these various victims / alleged victims, and they do not either provide us with either victim number 1, 2, 3, or, victim A, victim B, or even, initials. Even if they aren't their accurate initials, it would help to have, victim AB, victim CD, victim EF, that kind of thing. So we can keep the incidents and the alleged victims straight. I know that in some cases they've mentioned the location of the incident, like the Frogner woman, but that woman, we actually know who she is, and these other women, I don't wish to reveal their identities, especially if they don't wish their identities to be revealed, but a pseudonym of some kind would be nice. It's hard to keep this straight. And I'm reading all of these articles. I hope it's somewhat, I hope I'm making it somewhat easier for you out there, because it's even confusing to me. And these images, I am hoping this is in maybe the next article. This is from a video that Marius was recorded by one of his pals, who I guess sold it to the press, good friend, showing Marius being a jerk, let's put it that way. No allegation, being a jerk. And by the way, nice belly sticking out. And we'll get to that in probably just a minute. He let his anger out over the Skaugum home he manages and is said to have broken the door in the entrance area with his bare fist, according to the explanation. Okay, translation. Marius got angry and acted out with inappropriate aggression putting his hand into a door and injuring his hand. And they have photos with where he has a bandage on his hand. And I'll scroll down. Let's see. We'll show that. Okay, so here are the photographs. Again, the creep shots. You notice the hand of this person here, the person I guess they were sitting with, the creep shotter was sitting with. You could see that perfectly clearly. And then you have the blurry Norwegian Royal Family in the background here. Crown Princess Mette-Marit, Crown Prince Haakon, and there's Marius. And you can see he has a square bandage over, let's see, the middle knuckle and the one to the left of it on his hand. How do you describe that? Not the knuckles in the middle of your fingers, but the knuckles that are actually at the base of your fingers on your hand. And then they have another photograph. Oh, there's the video. Okay, we'll show that in a second. Here's another photograph of Marius from obviously the same creep shot roll with the bandaged hand, which of course could be from anything, but there's your corroborating evidence that he put his hand through a door because he was all angry about something. Okay, so back up. Oh, and this image that I've scrolled over is supposedly him chatting with friends in his friend group, a text group, where he's joking about not being an abuser. He says, "Watch out, I'm not a wife abuser. I've never been married." Great. Way to go, Marius. And if you've been following this case or listening to our previous streams, you would know that Marius has, despite the fact that he released through his defense attorney a statement saying that he was a bad boy who had done a bad thing at the Frogner incident by getting angry and terrorizing and attacking his then girlfriend and trashing her apartment, that he has problems with mental health, has problems with substance abuse, and that he has been seeking treatment for this and would continue to seek treatment for this. Yet he has, to the best of anyone's knowledge, unless he is there now, he has not actually attended any rehab between the August incident and the current date, although he may be there now. And he has been seen online. Evidence has been released that he is not treating this seriously in private. The texts that you see here is one piece of evidence. There was also the photograph of him standing next to the tabloids in a, I guess, supermarket that were saying, oh, Marius is doing these things, and he's holding a case of beer and flipping the bird to the camera with a big smile on his face, standing next to the tabloids with him on the cover. Obviously not taking it too seriously, doesn't seem to feel too bad about it, although he claimed he did. And then the video, which is embedded in this article, and we will watch in just a minute. Okay, so go for Easter treats. A few days later, both Marius and his girlfriend at the time traveled to Uvdal to celebrate Easter at the Crown Prince's family cottage. Here they enjoyed a few days together with Mother Mette-Marit and Crown Prince Haakon. They went slalom, so they went skiing, and looked right to enjoy themselves in the beautiful Easter weather. In the photos, you can clearly see that Marius has a bandage on the knuckles of his right hand, after the injury he inflicted on himself when he ransacked the house and furniture at home in Skaugum a few days earlier. Both Marius' girlfriend at the time and her mother are said to have told about these events from Easter in police interviews. Okay. But how do we know about it? How does this tabloid know about it? Did it get leaked? If so, by whom? Are the police leaking this information? Did the interviewees leak the information? It sounds like maybe the media has an inside source with the police. Or possibly someone on one of the attorneys. Well, okay, let's keep reading. On the night of 4 August, Marius Borg Hoiby went on a rampage again, this time in his then-girlfriend's home at Frogner. He was initially charged with bodily harm, but this was later extended to include abuse in close relationships. So DV, domestic violence. How their relationship ended, the 27-year-old himself reveals in a very special video clip. So this is the video. Again, I will play it. I don't think this is copyrighted such that I can't play it. And I will try to make it full screen. So here we go.
Se och hör har fått tillgång till
super fast. I will replay it. And so supposedly Mario, why I can't scroll back here. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. Back. A little bit more. This is very brief, 41 seconds, and not all of it is Marius. Trying very hard to get this to go back, and it won't. Okay. There. That did it. All right, here we go. I'll play it again. He is sitting here, belly exposed, very disgraceful. And how did your relationship end, Marius? He is asked, and he replies.
Se och hör har fått tillgång till material.
By mimicking a big smack. So, he doesn't seem to be terribly broken up over it. He doesn't seem to be terribly remorseful. I will play it again. There you go. That.
Se och hör har fått tillgång till material fram.
So there you go. That's Marius, 27 years old, talking about how his last relationship with the woman who lives in Frogner ended. You know, the one where he put a bladed weapon of the chef variety into her bedroom wall, not even her kitchen wall, her bedroom wall, and somehow managed to get a chandelier off of the ceiling. I suppose if he looks quite tall, over 6 feet, so maybe he could just reach up and grab it and yank it down onto the ground, and that must have been pretty horrifying. And that's the event that he admits to. Okay, so secret network, and here's where it gets into the netwerk that we saw earlier. I will show that image again very quick. Oh, wrong one. Getting ahead of myself. Or behind, actually, because that was from our last stream, if you want to really see what's going on in this photograph, and I'll explain that in a second, but the Marius netwerk of gangs and people who are trafficking in various substances, not legal. If you can see the words that I'm circling on the screen, you can get a sense of what I am talking about. Okay. So continuing on with this article. Secret network. Last week, Seahor was able to reveal that Marius Borg Hoiby is part of a secret network where several of Oslo's most hardened criminals are members. In the group, both messages, photos, and video clips are shared over Snapchat. Here, what is shared can disappear quite quickly, but everything can also be saved. And that is probably what has happened with the video clip that Seahor was able to reveal last weekend. In the video, Marius is asked the question, "How did you break up with your last girlfriend?" Excuse me, in a kind of truth or dare game. The 27-year-old leans forward a little in the chair he is sitting in before he responds by making a powerful punching gesture towards the camera, followed by a smile and laughter. And the scene leaves little to the imagination in terms of what the Crown Princess's eldest son is supposed to have done. Speaks for itself. The reactions have not been long in coming. The legal counsel for Borg Hoiby's last known girlfriend, the woman from the 4 August R-word case in Oslo, says the following about the video to Dagbladet. It speaks for itself, states Mette Yvonne Larsen. Nora Haukland's assistant lawyer, Jon Christian Elden, also reacts to the video clip. We note that he has chosen an offensive line without confessions, and that the district court found Haukland's explanation more likely than the accused, when they imprisoned him. Now the investigation must uncover what the truth is, says Eldon to Dagbladet. Accused of deletion. In the secret network, fear is expressed among the members about what the police might find on Borg Hoiby's mobile phones. Recently, it became known that the police believe Marius must have tried to remotely delete digital evidence from his mobile phone. In front of Dagbladet, his defender responded to accusations about the deletion of evidence. Hoiby can have many good reasons for deleting information on a phone, which are not about deleting evidence. Beyond that, I don't want to say anything more concrete, asserts Oyvind Bratlian. And again, this is Marius's residence on the Skaugum estate, which is also where his mother, the Crown Princess, and his stepfather, Crown Prince Haakon, live. Not in that house. They live in a different house on the property, which Marius, has reportedly been banned from. A couple of weeks ago, Se og Hør's editor-in-chief Ulf Andre Andersen pointed out in an open letter to Marius Borg Hoiby that it is extremely frightening that he apparently shows no remorse for the damage he has caused to others. It is, of course, possible that you have had your pitch dark moments where you and your family have regretted, cried, despaired, and wondered how everything could go so damned wrong. Days you've wanted to curl up and apologize to those you've hurt. But you know what the worst is? It doesn't seem like you regret it at all. Anderson wrote, among other things. The shock video from the secret network only helps to substantiate the editor-in-chief's views. Serious allegations. Crown Prince Haakon is the one in the royal family who has so far spoken out about the scandal that is now shaking both the bonus son, which is what Marius was referred to from the time he was a child, that he was not just the stepson, he is the bonus son that came along with his mother into the marriage, and everyone around him. I think that Marius is facing serious charges. It is up to the police and the judicial system to deal with them, the Crown Prince told NRK and the press that covered his visit to Jamaica, where he was in the capacity of Goodwill Ambassador for the UN Exchange Program. We'll give Marius help. He added that as a family, they place a high priority on being able to give Marius the help he needs. We, as a family and as parents, have been very keen that Marius get help and have worked for a long time to get him to a place where he can get more help, rehabilitation, and treatment. It is something that we give high priority to, but it must happen within the framework that the legal apparatus sets for it going forward, stated Crown Prince Haakon. Se og Hør has asked Marius Borg Hoiby's lawyer questions about this case, but has not received an answer. Okay, so since they brought up, let's see, the Netwerk, I think this is a good place to mention. On the last stream, we went a little bit more. And part 4 and part 3, I think, were where we went into Marius's network. But again, this is part 5, so we did talk about Marius's criminal connections, I believe, on all 4 of those previous streams, and went deep into who these various people are and what their other connections may be. And one of the articles that came up on the last stream, and I'm not going to go over this in detail, this is just a quick mention, involved this gentleman here and a watch dealing company or a couple groups. I guess it's like a business and they have 2 different names. And the concept here is that Marius is connected to these individuals who either run or have business with these accounts, these Instagram accounts that are for a business that allegedly, ostensibly, deals in watches. And I can't go over this article again. I can't go into this in greater detail, but it is an organization of people with criminal connections and convictions that ostensibly sells Rolex watches and other kinds of, luxury watches, not just Rolexes. As you can see, the two watches in this image are both not Rolexes, but high-end luxury watches to wealthy clients. But this article went on to say that the companies have posted no income, and one of their main employees has also reported having no income. And the company has also reported officially, like the tax reports, the business reports that you have to submit to the Norwegian government. They have reported that they have no income, no expenses, and one of their main employees has also no income. These are international luxury watch dealers who are traveling to places like Dubai. How is this possible? A very interesting thing occurred during my inadvertent hiatus while I was experiencing technical difficulties, which I, taking a page from Shaman, will blame on the current Mercury retrograde going on. I was given a book by a friend, and that book was written by a man who had worked for a certain agency that deals with trying to handle the criminal activities related to illegal substances. And in this book, this former agent said that he had come across a group of people who, in their business practices with selling illegal substances, they referred to them as Rolexes. So I thought that was interesting, and quite a bit of a serendipitous gift from a friend, a book that just completely unrelated to Marius, the Norwegian Royal Family, or anything, happened to have that little bit of information, that certain criminal activity was referred to as selling Rolexes, Rolex watches. So there you go. If you want more information about these particular Rolex watch aficionados who are friends with Marius Borg Hoiby, I would recommend go back and watch part 4 of the Scandals of the Norwegian Royal Family. And if you want to find that specific story, this specific article that is on the screen right now, I would recommend pull up the stream, and if you want to find that specific thing, just scrub through until you can recognize the images. We are planning on in the future trying to, that is the article in which some of this information is located, and you can scrub through and find the visuals, and then you can just sort of listen to that. I'm hoping to be able to do chapters so that these long streams, I understand, can be a bit much. Obviously, who's going to sit and listen to it all in one? Unless you're really busy or really bored, it's difficult to listen to multi-hour streams all in one. And rather than have to, pause and come back all the time, it might be nicer to be able to hit chapters. So I'm going to work on doing that. And also we're looking into pulling out shorter clips on different topics so that can be watched. But again, this is something that is planned for the future here on French Dip Empire. And if you've been listening, I am the Empress. Do me a favor, give a little like and subscribe so that you can enjoy this in the future, be notified of future streams, and feed the YouTube algorithm so that other people can find these videos and join in, leave a comment. I am not, streaming this live. I am recording it for premiering live in the future as an attempt to avoid some of the technical difficulties that I've been experiencing. I'm hoping to go back to actually live streaming live not recording for live stream premiere in the future, but do me a favor, leave a comment on the video, and when this premieres, go ahead and leave a comment in the chat, because that also helps the algorithm, and it's nice to be able to hear back from people rather than just talking into the void. And I get great recommendations from the people who have commented, so I thank you if you are one of those people. So continuing with the saga of Marius and his criminal accusations, charges. Excuse this headline. I have no idea what that translation is supposed to mean. We're not going to read this entire article, but what this is from the 26th of November. This is Marius's defense attorney, and he wants more transparency. As we've been discussing this case, it's come out that the court proceedings have been behind closed doors. The media has been prevented from seeing and hearing a lot of the information, ironically, because that's the name of one of the tabloids we've been drawing articles off of, see and hear. The media has not been allowed to see and hear everything that is going on in Marius' case, and in addition, obviously, to the media wanting more access, because of course they would, even though the defender here, as you can see, is upset with the media for prejudging Marius and painting him as guilty when he has not been yet convicted, although he did admit to committing some of those crimes, but he is denying vehemently the R crimes, which are the worst of the crimes he's been accused of. And the attorney is asking that the case be, that the court proceedings, of the case be made available to the public. And not only are the media and the public not allowed to attend all of the behind closed doors discussions, the minutes, not recording like audio recording, but any recording, of what's going on in those proceedings is not being allowed out. And I assume there would probably be leaks. But anyway, Marius's attorney wants more transparency and openness in the case, because he is concerned that Marius is being prejudged. He's being convicted in the press and in the minds of the public, because they can't see everything and that's going on in the case. And I suppose one of that, again, you can see in the text here, he's saying it's skewed, it's one-sided. In, I guess, one of the problems they're having is they're claiming that videos that are on Marius' phones that have been used to accuse him of our crimes are being misinterpreted. Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. And it hasn't been, prosecuted yet. So obviously the court can't make a full decision. But what we do know is that one of the last R crimes that Marius has been accused of by the police, even the judge said that they were not, I don't know if it's who the judge is, I forget the name. The judge has said that they do not necessarily believe that the evidence strongly supports the third R crime charge. The judge is doubtful of that. If even the judge is doubtful, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. And again, even if that third R crime charge is not valid, or the evidence is not what it appears to be, that of course doesn't mean that the other two R crime charges are not potentially valid. Everything is taken individually, right? So we don't know. It's along the lines of the Bob Marley, I did a certain thing to the sheriff, but I did not do that thing to the deputy, right? Sure, you can be guilty of one crime, but not the other. So that's his defense attorney. He wants more transparency, and then Yes, 28 November 2024, there's Marius in disguise, all ready for rehab. The police stopped the Crown Princess's son on his way to rehab. After a week in prison, the situation has changed. Excuse me. The police confirmed this to Sehor. So they are saying now that he is definitely in or going to rehab. But how do we prove that? Well, it hasn't been proven yet. So, yes. They arrested Marius when he was supposedly going to rehab. Now, the scenario was bizarre. He was arrested at night, I think it was, in a car. Well, he was definitely in the car that he did not have a driver's license to legally drive, as per his mother's request to a doctor, that then ended in his driver's license being taken away. He had a car, and he was found by the police with the woman that supposedly his ex from the Frogner incident at the beginning of August, who has a restraining order against him. So she agreed to meet him, and he met with her, thus violating his restraining order. I guess that's again. I think that's the second time he had violated that specific restraining order. And again, driving without a license, another crime. And he was in disguise. He had dyed brown hair and a new brown mustache. And he was about to go abroad, which supposedly was part of why he was lending his car to this woman who he attacked and put in the hospital with a concussion and had a restraining order against him. But they were meeting because he was going to go abroad, disguised, supposedly to rehab. Because you need a disguise when you go to rehab abroad. It makes no sense, but there you go. That's what happened, or that's what's been reported to happen. So they're saying he was going to go abroad. Now, the crown princely couple, along with Marius, had actually visited London one weekend. I believe it was in November. It may have still been in October. And that was at the time reported that they were going to check Marius into rehab. But then after a long weekend where they were spotted out shopping, they came back. So maybe they were just investigating rehabs at that time and came back to deal with the police matters, the legal matters, and then we're going to sort those out and then get him back into rehab as soon as he was, as soon as the police were done with him and all of that. But then he got arrested and not just arrested, but he was put in jail. So can't go to rehab if you're in jail, although I guess that could be a form of rehab, but not a very active form of rehab. Now they're saying that, yes, indeed, he is going to go to rehab in Britain. And again, this is just reiterating that Hawkins said that they are going to try to, they're committed to getting Marius help. He needs rehab and blah, blah, blah. So it's a lot of the same information that we've heard before. So I won't reread that. Okay, moving on. Now, this goes into also very serious and dark territory, but I do have to say I'm a bit amused at how this article was presented in the tabloid press. So, okay, so this is from 28 November, and the way this appeared on the website, there was this photograph, which has Mette-Marit and Marius, and this young lady here is the elder daughter of Bill Gates, Microsoft billionaire Bill Gates. That's his elder daughter, Jennifer, who is a doctor, although lately she appears in the sort of tabloid press for her wedding and her babies. She got married, she had a couple babies, and so that's what we hear about her now more than anything else. I believe she was an equestrian too. I know he has the two daughters, I think she was the equestrian, and she's the doctor, and she's married, and she has babies, and then there's the other daughter. So this daughter, Jennifer, is hugging Marius at this event, which was, it does not have a date, although the article, I think, says when this visit may have occurred. So the way this appeared on the front page of C'est au Horror, they zoomed in, they just cropped it here, right? So you just see Jennifer Gates Nasser, her married surname, hugging Marius Borg Hoiby. And I forget what the headline was. It was something like reveals name or something like that. Oh yeah, sharing private photo. I think that might have actually been the words that were on the front page headline. Sharing private photo or reveals name or something like that. And then the cropped image, of Marius and Jennifer Gates. Now, what does Jennifer Gates have to do with Marius? After all of the allegations that have been made against Marius, you would not be, crazy for thinking that perhaps there was going to be another crime alleged that possibly Marius committed against Jennifer Gates, right? And that would be horrifying and bring things up to a whole other level of bizarre and scandalous, I would imagine. But no, it's a bait and switch. But it's a very helpful bait and switch, because this article is going to allow us to pivot into something that has been asked by one of our viewers, listeners, and that is, what about Crown Princess Mette-Marit's connections to Jeffrey Epstein? And if you recall, Bill Gates himself has a connection to Jeffrey Epstein. As a matter of fact, that is what reportedly broke up his marriage to Jennifer's mother, Melinda French Gates, that Melinda was not happy with Bill hanging out with Mr. Epstein, and so she decided to divorce him. Now, whether you believe that story or not, that's up to you, but that's the one she's sticking with, at least publicly. So, sharing private photo. I don't know if we need to read this whole thing, because mostly the article is about how Jennifer Gates just had another baby. And that's nice, but not really what we're talking about here. But, so, why is this connected to Marius? Few people know that Bill Gates' daughter has visited Crown Princess Mette-Marit and Marius Borg Hoiby on, oh boy, Dvergsoya? I guess that's an island. I should have looked up that pronunciation. I apologize, Norwegian speakers. Okay, so more about the baby. Perhaps Jennifer caught sight of the Norwegian-sounding name during the visit to Norway. Well, no, I don't think she named her younger daughter Mia because of Norway. But, again, that's a nice way to... and there she is with the baby. And that's her husband, who is also an equestrian. And what did they say? He's I forgot. Economics graduate. Okay. And then they just talk about Jennifer and her marriage and her baby, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Close relationship with the Norwegian Crown Prince family. The Gates family has long had ties to Norway, particularly through collaboration with Crown Princess Mette-Marit in connection with the Gates Foundation's global health and education initiatives, which are somewhat controversial on their own, but that's for someone else to talk about, not us. So here is Crown Prince Mette-Marit, Crown Prince Haakon, and obviously an old photograph. It does not have a date, with Melinda French Gates and Bill Gates. And that, of course, the ex-wife and Jennifer's mother. Crown Princess Mette-Marit has, among other things, worked with the organization, meaning the Gates Foundation, to promote vaccination programs in developing countries. And here is Mette-Marit smiling at Jennifer Gates. Nasser. Jennifer Gates Nasser. Private visit. Bill and Melinda Gates have also visited the Crown Prince family on Dvergsoya outside Kristiansand. The wealthy Microsoft founder landed at Kjevik Airport in a large private jet. The family's children, including Jennifer, were on the plane, and there is the plane. The pictures from NTB show that there was a good atmosphere between Jennifer and the Norwegian Crown Prince family in the summer of 2013. Okay, 11 years old. These pictures are 11 years old, so Marius would have been 16. Also, Crown Prince Haakon, Princess Ingrid Alexandra, and Prince Sverre Magnus were there and said goodbye on the pier. Well, the princess and prince would have been little, young children at that point, not 20 and 18. After the Norway holiday, Bill and Melinda have gone their separate ways. Gates was criticized for having fostered a relationship with PDF file Jeffrey Epstein, a man Crown Princess Mette-Marit also had contact with. And you can see at the bottom here is mustachioed Marius, the police confirm, can go to rehab, which is supposedly where he is. And okay, so Jeffrey Epstein, a man Crown Princess Mette-Marit also had contact with. What was that contact? Well, let's go on to these old articles. This is from December 2019. This is Town and Country magazine. Norway's Crown Princess Mette-Marit, quote, regrets, unquote, meeting with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, what else would she say? The royal met with Epstein several times between 2011 and 2013 after he was a convicted you-know-what offender, intimate activity offender. Here we go, and that's a picture of Mette-Marit at obviously some gala event. Less than 2 weeks ago, and remember, this is an old article, so not 2 weeks from today, the recording date of 4 December 2024, but 2 weeks prior to December 2019, so sometime in November 2019, in the wake of a disastrous interview about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, Britain's Prince Andrew announced he was stepping back from his royal duties. Now another European royal is under scrutiny for her association with the criminal. In response to Norwegian newspaper Dagens Næring, oh boy, I'm not even trying. A Norwegian DN recent report revealing that Crown Princess Mette-Marit had ties to Epstein. She offered a statement to DN about her relationship with him. I never would have associated with Mr. Epstein if I had been aware of the seriousness of the crimes he committed. So did she not know about the crimes at all? Or did she think that they weren't that bad until someone explained it to her? And was that after it became public knowledge and a problem? I should have investigated his past more thoroughly, and I am sorry that I didn't. DN reports that the Crown Princess met several times with Epstein between 2011 and 2013, years after his 2008 conviction and subsequent registration as an intimate activities offender. I have to be euphemistic. You can read the words themselves on the screen right here. Right there. You know what I'm talking about. We all know who this man is. Norway's royal palace confirmed that Mette-Marit met socially with Epstein, mostly in the United States. Guri Varpe, the palace's head of communications, told DN one of the meetings took place at Mr. Epstein's home. The Crown Princess also had a brief meeting with Mr. Epstein while he was in Oslo. There were other people present in all the meetings. Well, that doesn't necessarily make it okay. A room full of not good people doesn't make it okay. I don't know that I would want to excuse my meeting with Jeffrey Epstein in the 2011-2010 time period as socially. I would think that you would say, well, we had business dealings, and that might be a little more excusable. You thought the person was above board with his, financial or charitable even, engagements. But socially, That sounds a little creepier. I don't know. What do you think? Please let me know what you think. It sounds odd to me. Worse, I say. Socially sounds worse. Like, oh, I liked hanging out with the guy. Well, no. Okay. Varpe added that during the years when Mette-Marit met with Epstein, the royal was not aware of the scope nor the character of the crimes he had been convicted of and subsequently served time in jail. Okay, so she knew he was a convict, but that was okay. The scope. She knew he had done something to one person, but multiple is not a problem. One's judgment gets called into question. And when you have your son doing things like this, not to mention Mette-Marit's past, which we've covered in the past on our previous streams, it really begs the question, is this a mistake or is this a continuum of behavior? Back to the article. It was also confirmed that Crown Prince Haakon, Mette-Marit's husband and heir apparent to the Norwegian throne, had briefly met Epstein. When the Crown Princess and the Crown Prince were on vacation in St. Bart's in 2012, they ran into Mr. Epstein on the street. Crown Prince Haakon then met Epstein for the first and only time, Varpe said. Varpe also notes that Mette-Marit severed her relationship with Epstein in 2013, in part because she felt that Mr. Epstein attempted to trade on the relationship he had to the Crown Princess and use it for his own gain in other relations. Well, that's very believable. However, how did he attempt to trade on the relationship, and what was the relationship? I mean, he's a big, powerful, allegedly billionaire financier with incredibly rich and powerful friends, arguably even more so than a Norwegian crown princess. And what was the nature of their relationship? And with whom would Epstein be using Mette-Marit's name to gain? What would he be gaining? And with whom? What other relations? Begs the question, and they did not answer. And you would think that you could be a little bit more specific about that, especially if they are mere social acquaintances of 2 to 3 years. But anyway, that doesn't give us that much information. It is interesting, but there is another article that I found, also an old article. Not that old, however. This is from 2023. And this is how Jeffrey Epstein wooed a princess. And this is from the Daily Beast. So as you can see, it's labeled, yikes! Not maybe the most super duper serious way of approaching the topic, but nonetheless, it does have some good information in it. It's not a terrible article. It's pretty good. So let's take a look at this old article, year-old article. How Jeffrey Epstein wooed a princess. Emails obtained by the Daily Beast reveal that the intimate activities predator scheduled meetings with Norwegian and British royals after he got out of jail. And then there's the man himself, and that's the Crown Princess. Okay. Late financier and intimate activities predator Jeffrey Epstein maintained close ties with members of at least 2 royal families in the years following his 2008 felony conviction for soliciting an underage girl. Personal emails obtained by the Daily Beast show. I know he has in his little black books at least one other member of a royal family, but not a currently seated royal family. I can think of one off the top of my head. There may be more. I'd have to look. Okay. Epstein served 13 months in a Florida prison on state charges, then spent another year on house arrest and probation, which ended in July 2010. The terms of his release required him to register as a level 3 intimate activities offender for the rest of his life, but that didn't stop him from palling around with the global elite. In a September 21, 2013 message to Epstein from his longtime executive assistant Leslie Groff, she laid out his schedule for the day. There was a reminder to call an Eastern European violinist, I think I know who that might be, a breakfast with former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, and a string of appointments with professors, diplomats, and a real estate broker who was showing Epstein's opulent Upper East Side townhouse to potential buyers. Reminder, Princess Mette to arrive today and stay until Thursday, September 26. Groff's email notes, referring to Norwegian Crown Princess Mette-Marit. 7:00 p.m. Mette? ? It adds, just after a note regarding a 6 p.m. meeting with former Norwegian Prime Minister, Nobel Committee Chair, and Secretary General of the Council of Europe, Torbjørn Jagland. There were a small handful of other Norwegians that got in trouble and with their connections to Epstein. One was, I believe, not a former prime minister, or I think there was a former prime minister, but more deeply connected was it was a man who had held a cabinet position, I forget which, and his wife was also connected to Epstein, and she was, Norway's, I want to say, UN ambassador. I forget off the top of my head, but there were a small handful of other Norwegians, including politicians that were connected to Epstein, and that's sort of a side note. But anyway, Mette-Marit was not the only Norwegian VIP connected to Epstein. The emails, which the Daily Beast obtained from authorities in the U.S. Virgin Islands via a Freedom of Information Act request, reveal Epstein's ongoing relationships with European royalty, even as a felon. Crown Princess Mette-Marit was visiting New York City on a work trip between September 21st and September 26th in 2013. Guri Varpe, a spokeswoman for the Norwegian Royal Court, told the Daily Beast. And boy, I do not envy this woman having to run interference for these people. She provided details of Mette-Marit's activities during the period she was in the city, which were two-pronged. As a special representative for UN AIDS, the Crown Princess met with youth leaders and others to discuss continued commitment to combating HIV/AIDS. She also attended the annual meeting of the Clinton Global Initiative, another controversial organization, much like the Gates Foundation, which honored a Norwegian fertilizer company for its commitment to alleviating the global food shortage in an environmentally sound and sustainable manner. How lovely. According to Varpe, Mette-Marit has never been to the U.S. Virgin Islands, where Epstein owned 2 islands and allegedly carried out some of his most heinous, intimate activity, trafficking crimes. The princess stayed at a hotel in Midtown Manhattan, not with Epstein, Varpe said, reiterating in a follow-up email that emphasized the fact that Mette-Marit never visited Epstein's Caribbean lair. Mette-Marit, who reportedly met Epstein through mutual friends, who were those mutual friends, has apologized for her interactions with him, telling Norwegian business daily DN in 2019, "I never would have associated with Mr. Epstein if I had been aware of the seriousness of the crimes he committed. I should have investigated his past more thoroughly, and I am sorry that I didn't." It kind of has the ring of Bill Clinton's old, "I did not have intimate relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky." Of course you didn't. She broke off all contact with Epstein in 2013, according to Varpe. Partly, this was because she felt that Mr. Epstein attempted to trade on the relationship he had to the Crown Princess and use it for his own gain in other relations, Varpe previously told DN. There are other familiar names among the emails between Epstein and Groff, such as Prince Andrew and his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York. And then it goes on to talk about the Andrew and Epstein and Sarah. So I'm skipping over that because we're not talking about the British royal family right now. But let's see, is there any? And then the rest of that is about Epstein, so just Epstein himself. So that is some information about Mette-Marit's connections to Epstein. She claims she knew him socially. The royal spokesperson claims that Crown Prince Haakon met him only once, a chance encounter on a St. Bart's Street, and but somehow his wife knew him, and for 2 to 3 years, but they never discussed. I mean, meeting someone once doesn't mean you don't know about them or know anything about them. Also, what kind of a janky organization is the Norwegian royal family running that they're trying to pretend that no one would have been able to vet Jeffrey Epstein? This is preposterous. You do not get to associate with VIPs at that level of security. Like, you have to be careful. People with public positions have to be careful. And people with public positions that can be, sullied by their associations with people, vet these people. They have people to do this for them. It's not like the average human being sitting at home, pulling up their phone or on their laptop or desktop and Googling someone's name, checking out their social media profiles or what have you, their LinkedIn to see what they're up to, who they are. This was Jeffrey Epstein, and this was the Norwegian royal family. They have people to do this for them. They have organizations. They have, the Norwegian security, their own spies. They have police. They have everything. And they have Google. Didn't know? Didn't know the extent? Okay. Hard to believe, but, there you go. Oh, where are we going? We do not want to go read the Daily Beast. I'm sorry. Look at this nonsense. Okay, so that is we have no idea what was the connection. They're not talking. No one investigated it. And to the best of my knowledge, there have been no more specifics released or uncovered about what was Mette-Marit doing, hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. What did they have in common socially? Who were the friends who introduced them? And basically, what was that all about? We don't know. So there you go. The answer to what was Mette-Marit's connection to Jeffrey Epstein. That was it. And they claim that ended in 2013. Now that concludes our Marius segment of the scandals of this section, part 5 of the scandals of the Norwegian royal family. We will return with part 6 of our series on the scandals of the Norwegian royal family, continuing our discussion on the marriage of Princess Märtha Louise and her controversial second husband, Shaman. Thank you for joining us today. This has been French Dip Empire. I'm the Empress, and if you've enjoyed this show, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.